The sound of laughter echoed down the marble hallways of Hamilton Industries, the kind that cuts deep when it's directed at someone who can't or won't fight back. The janitor, an aging man with graying hair and weary eyes, quietly pushed his mop across the polished floor while a few young executives snickered as they passed. "Careful, soldier," one of them joked, smirking. "You missed a spot." The man didn't respond. He simply looked up with tired dignity, nodded once, and continued his work. No one in that building cared who he was before he became the janitor. They only saw his faded uniform, the calluses on his hands, and the silence he carried like a shield. But fate has a strange way of revealing what truly lies behind ordinary faces. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and never judging someone by their job or appearance, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. It helps spread stories that remind the world what humanity really means. That janitor's name was Jack Rayner. Years ago, he was known by another title, Major Jack Rayner, a decorated combat medic in the military. He had led rescue missions in war zones, saved lives under fire, and held men in his arms as they took their final breaths. But none of that mattered when he returned home. The war left him with scars no one could see, PTSD, chronic pain, and a haunting sense of loss. He lost his wife to illness soon after returning, and with her went his sense of purpose. When life stripped him of everything, the only work he could find was cleaning floors at Hamilton Industries. Still, Jack showed up every day. He was invisible to most, mocked by some, but respected by a few who noticed how his eyes carried calm even in chaos. He never spoke of his past. He never corrected anyone who laughed. He had learned that real strength didn't need to be announced. That morning, the company was preparing for an important event. The CEO, Michael Hamilton, one of the most powerful men in the city, was scheduled to present a new partnership deal worth millions. The building buzzed with tension, assistants running, managers shouting, screens flickering with live updates. And amid it all, Jack mopped in silence, unnoticed as always. Then, just before noon, a scream shattered the rhythm of the day. It came from the hallway near the CEO's private office, a voice trembling with panic. "Help! Someone please help!" It was a little girl, her small frame shaking as she cried for anyone to listen. People froze. The CEO's young daughter, Emma, was standing outside the office door, tears streaming down her face. "Mom's dying!" she screamed. "Please! Mom's on the floor!" For a few seconds, the entire office was chaos. Secretaries ran in circles. Security guards hesitated, unsure what to do. Someone shouted to call an ambulance, but no one was moving fast enough. The CEO's wife, Clara Hamilton, had a known heart condition, but no one expected this. Inside the room, she lay collapsed on the carpet, motionless. And then, through the confusion, the janitor dropped his mop. His voice cut through the noise, steady, commanding, and cold as steel. "Everyone step back," Jack ordered. "Give her air. Someone call 911. Now." There was something in his tone, authority, precision, that made even the highest-ranked executives obey without question. He knelt beside Clara, checked her pulse, and assessed her breathing. Nothing. Without hesitation, he began CPR, steady compressions, rhythmic breaths, unshakable focus. Emma clung to her father's leg, crying, "Please save my mom." Michael stood frozen, his mind blank, unable to move. And in that moment, the janitor, the man everyone had dismissed as nothing, became the only person in control. Minutes felt like hours. Jack kept his rhythm, counting under his breath. "Come on, stay with me, breathe." His hands, trained by years of combat, worked with precision. The color slowly returned to Clara's face, a faint breath escaping her lips. Jack turned her onto her side and kept her airway clear until the paramedics arrived. When they did, one of the EMTs recognized him immediately. "Major Rayner." The medic said, stunned. "Sir, I didn't know you were here." Jack gave a small nod, then quietly stood, brushing off his uniform pants as if it were just another day's work. He didn't stay for praise. As the EMTs carried Clara away, he stepped back into the shadows of the hallway and picked up his mop again. But the building had changed. Everyone who had mocked him now watched in silence. The young executives who once sneered at him couldn't meet his eyes. The CEO himself approached, still trembling, his daughter's hand in his. You saved her," Michael whispered, tears in his voice. Jack only replied softly, "I did what anyone should do, sir." The ambulance left, and the office was still. Word spread like wildfire. "The janitor's a veteran," someone said. "A medic. He used to save soldiers." The whispers turned into respect, and respect turned into awe. Later that day, when Clara stabilized and the hospital confirmed she was out of danger, the CEO returned to the office. He walked straight to the janitor's closet, a place no executive had ever entered. Inside, Jack sat on a small stool eating a simple sandwich. Michael stood in the doorway for a long moment before speaking. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. Jack looked up. "Yes, I did," he replied. "Because life doesn't stop being worth saving just because you're not wearing a uniform anymore." The CEO's eyes filled with tears. "I misjudged you," he said. "We all did." Jack just smiled faintly. "That's all right. You see what you need to see. Most people don't look past the surface." A week later, Hamilton Industries held a company-wide meeting. To everyone's surprise, the CEO began with a story, not about profits or strategy, but about the man who saved his wife's life. "We all judged someone without knowing their story," he said. "But today, I want to introduce you to the bravest man I know." And when Jack walked onto that stage, wearing his old service medal for the first time in years, the entire auditorium rose to their feet. The applause lasted minutes. People who once mocked him now wept. Emma ran up to the stage and hugged him tightly, whispering, "Thank you for saving my mom." Jack smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You take care of her now, okay?" he said gently. That day, Hamilton Industries changed forever. The CEO announced a new internal program in Jack's honor, a second chance employment initiative to hire and support veterans, single parents, and those who had been overlooked by society. And he offered Jack a new position, not as a janitor, but as Director of Employee Welfare and Safety, with the authority to train and guide others. Jack hesitated at first, still humble as always. "I'm just a janitor," he said. But the CEO shook his head. "No, Jack, you're a leader. You've always been." From that day forward, Jack didn't just clean floors. He walked the halls with quiet pride, mentoring others, greeting new hires, and reminding everyone that every person has a story worth knowing. Those who once avoided him now sought his wisdom. He was still the same man, calm, quiet, and kind, but now the world finally saw him for who he truly was. Years later, a framed photo hung in the main lobby of Hamilton Industries. It showed Jack standing beside the CEO's family, smiling warmly with the caption, "He cleaned our floors. Then he cleaned our hearts."